We're counting down the 100 greatest Hallmark Christmas movies of all time from 100 all the way to number 1. Throughout the series, we'll revisit each movie's story, discuss why it earned a spot on our list, and highlight the moments that have made it a favorite among Hallmark Christmas fans. You'll also hear from my fellow Hallmark podcasters and YouTubers as they share their thoughts on the movie, its placement, and if I lost my freaking mind. If you're just joining this series, I encourage you to start from the beginning. And if you enjoy Christmas content all year long, then click on that subscribe button. So keep drinking that cocoa, stay cozy, and let's continue the countdown with numbers 60 through 41. One December Night. 10 years after a bitter breakup ended their reign as one of the world's biggest musical duos, Steve Bedford and Mike Sullivan reunite for a televised Christmas special. Tasked with making the reunion happen is talent agent Quinn, Mike's estranged daughter, who teams with Steve's son Jason to help reconnect their fathers and convince them to perform their biggest hit, One December Night. Quinn and Jason work behind the scenes to oversee the televised reunion performance of their rock star fathers, while also helping mend the wounds of their fractured past and discovering their own feelings for each other. Peter Gallagher and the mighty Bruce Campbell are so compelling as the broken-up musical duo, but don't let that star power overshadow Eloise Munford, who delivers a fantastic performance as Quinn, showing her vulnerability as she struggles to reconnect with her father. The biggest surprise is that the songs performed in the movie are genuinely good, especially Coming Home.
Coming home.
Bedford and Sullivan may be a fictional musical group, but I couldn't wait to see and hear them perform together again. And by the end, we learn through the lyrics of why One December Night holds such a deep personal meaning for both men.
Is for my daughter, who's here tonight. And for her mom. And it's for each one of you too.
I fell in love with Hallmark because they didn't always show families who were happy, even at Christmas time. The alcoholism plotline in this is one that is a huge step for Hallmark, and one that was really personally moving to me.
Dad? When your mother was in the hospital, I couldn't handle it. And she saw the way I was drinking, and she asked me to stay away until I could stop thinking about myself and start thinking about you. I'm sorry. I am sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry. Can you ever forgive me?
'59, November Christmas. Starring John Corbett and Sarah Paulson as Beth and Tom, they're parents to young Vanessa, who's battling leukemia and fears she may not live long enough to see Christmas. Their neighbor Jess, played by Sam Elliott, is determined to make her remaining time special. With the help of the entire community, he arranges for Halloween and Christmas to arrive months early so Vanessa can experience both holidays while she can. As Jess, Sam Elliott plays a familiar, gruff neighbor of a heart of gold. He becomes a grandfatherly figure to Vanessa, helping her final moments meaningful and filled with joy. Karen Allen helps soften Jess's rough edges as his wife Claire, and while John Corbett delivers a strong performance as Vanessa's father, they are all somewhat overshadowed by Emily Ellen Lind as Vanessa. At such a young age, Emily gives a great performance as a hopeful girl forced to battle cancer. I love this movie, but I can't watch it. It's a heartbreaking story about a little girl with cancer, and as the father of a daughter, it's always been difficult for me to watch. So why does it belong on this list? Well, the movie's great. It's a reminder of the importance of the power of community to make this little girl's life special. The end scene of her face as she sees the lights leading to her house is heartbreaking, and yet a reassurance that there are still good people in this world.
Well, November Christmas definitely has to go down as having one of the most stacked casts in the history of Hallmark Christmas movies. And you have this endearing story about a community comes around a little girl who's sick and needs to experience as much Christmas as possible throughout the whole November and earlier seasons to help her get through this cancer scare. And you have Sam Elliott, who's of course legend, John Corbett, and Sarah Paulson. You could not ask for a better cast. And the little girl's very sweet. It's very endearing. You need your box of tissues for this one. But in the grand tradition of the Hallmark Hall of Fame, you can't get much better than November Christmas.
Mr. Sandberg, you're right. It's Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Melissa.
Merry Christmas.
58. Crown for Christmas. After losing her hotel job, Allie Evans is fired by Fergus to become a governess in the European kingdom of Winshire. There, she meets King Maximilian and his daughter Theodora, who has just pushed away every caretaker since her mother's death. As Allie grows closer to Theodora and adjusts to palace life, she begins to develop feelings for the king, who's preparing to marry the Countess, Celia. Another royal movie makes this list, and it marks the first appearance of Danica McKellar, best known for playing Winnie Cooper on The Wonder Years. There was a period of time when Hallmark regularly featured popular female child stars from the 80s and 90s, and Danica became one of the channel's biggest staples. While many of her films were kind of forgettable, Crown for Christmas remains a standout. Danica and Rupert Penry Jones share strong chemistry as Allie and King Maximilian, while her relationship with young Ellie Balderil's Theodora helps her father realize who he should be with. Hallmark has explored many different approaches to royal romances, but few feel as classic and traditional as Crown for Christmas.
Danica McKellar was another one of my childhood crushes from the Wonder Years, so I was already sold before the movie even started. Then you throw in castles and royalty and Christmas, and it's a classic fairy tale romance, and you've got one of Hallmark's most charming films here. Now this one's definitely, and you can tell AI wrote this one's definitely royalty in my Christmas movie collection, but honestly, I really enjoy it, and I probably would have placed this one just a couple of places higher as well. It's just got everything, that sweetness that you really enjoy.
57. The Christmas Quest. Archaeologist Stephanie Baxter, portrayed by Lacey Chabert, convinces her ex-husband Chase, Christopher Palaha, a Norse language expert, to join the quest to hunt for the legendary treasure of the Yule Lads. They travel to Iceland around Christmas in a race to secure the treasure, ignoring the advice to trust no one.
Why did you?
Because he didn't take my advice. Didn't I warn you not to trust anybody, Dr. Jones?
The Christmas Quest is Hallmark's take and inspiration on adventure movies like Indiana Jones and the National Treasure films. This was a bold step to tackle a treasure hunt movie, and I think for the most part, they accomplished it. Following in the footsteps of her archaeologist mother, played by Erin Cahill, Lacey Chabert's Stephanie, as the Indiana Jones-style type character, was a fun choice when they easily could have gone the traditional route of hiring Christopher Palaha as the lead. Where this movie stands out, and why it's on this list, is the spectacular locations. Old Hallmark would have tried to fake it with bad green screen. Not only were Lacey and Christopher at these locations, but they were beautifully shot and composed. For as many movies that Lacey Chabert has done for Hallmark, it's hard to believe that she has never been paired with Christopher Palaha. The chemistry between these two was off the charts, especially that kiss to avoid the security guards. These two are among the top actors on the channel, and based on the amazing locations, Hallmark spared no expense to put this fun adventure together. 56. Three Wiser Men and a Boy. The three wise men, Luke, Taylor, and Stephen, return for another adventure, forced by the principal to produce Thomas's school musical after accidentally destroying all the sets. At the same time, the brothers learn that their mom Barbara has a new boyfriend named Roy, who seems too perfect.
Roy is very good with his hands.
Oh.
He has fixed so many things around here already.
Okay, I think I need some air.
5 years later, Taylor is now single until he meets himself in female form. Stephen can't commit to Susie and propose, and Luke has married Thomas's mom, Sophie. Thanks to a script treatment by Russell Hainline, the sequel to the Three Wise Men movie turns into an over-the-top comedy. Unfortunately, the only interesting love relationship is Taylor falling for Aaron Carpluck's Caroline. She's the male counterpart to Taylor, and Tyler Hynes has no problem making fun of himself to make this relationship work. Paul Campbell's Steven still hasn't proposed, but Fiona Vroom's Susie is barely in the film. If I had one criticism for the movie, it's that Susie and Sophie are barely in it. And once again, Sophie abandons Thomas. What we do get, though, is a fun storyline with Pastor Roy, who's good with his hands.
Let me guess, cut it down with your own two hands?
Yeah, I did, actually.
And three actors who love working together, portraying brothers who look nothing alike. Three Wiser Men and a Boy is a rare Hallmark sequel that works, and one that was highly anticipated. While it wasn't perfect, you can tell that Tyler, Andrew, and Paul were all having fun and secured a spot on this list. 55. The Christmas Card. After a deadly attack in Afghanistan claims the life of his fellow soldier, Army Sergeant Cody Cullen delivers his fallen comrade's belongings to his widow. Along the way, he meets Faith Spellman, a woman who writes Christmas cards to lonely soldiers and unknowingly sent a card to Cody. After saving her father Luke from an accident, Cody is welcomed into the family and becomes a valuable help at their logging business. Released 20 years ago, The Christmas Card was and still is one of the original Hallmark movies that fans look for every year. If you have ever been on the numerous Hallmark fan Facebook groups, the most common post during the holiday season is, when are they going to show The Christmas Card? It's also the oldest movie on this list, being made in 2006. So why is this movie so beloved? Well, my first guess is that the overall romantic story of a man connecting with a woman with a simple act of kindness of sending a Christmas card speaks to all the Hallmark fans. Add in the soldier element for the patriotic feels, along with the chemistry between leads Alice Evans and John Newton, and that combination gave Hallmark their first big Christmas movie and a spot on this list. I can already see that you're writing a comment to tell me that I got this one wrong.
Well, this is really where it all started for Hallmark Channel, right? The very first Hallmark Channel movie. And so I think it's a must-watch for any Hallmark fan. And it's clear they're kind of testing the waters here and trying to figure out some things with this movie. But I think the story, the romance, the family vibes, the gesture with the bench next to the lake, it all just works for me. It gives me everything I want in a Hallmark movie.
This one being at 55, I think this is far too low.
Yeah.
This one should be
at least to the top 5 or top 10.
It should be top 20 at least.
Yeah, because I mean, this is what started it all.
And the cast, Ed Asner,
Yeah.
Lois Nettleton. You know, this is a great film, and it doesn't fill all the traditional Hallmark tropes.
No.
This one really should be higher on the list.
I consider this at least top 3, top 5 of mine, because you can't. If this didn't exist, none of these pretty much probably would have happened, because it was based on this formula.
Hey there, I'm Eric from Hallmark Mysteries and More. And you can find me on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, Instagram, talking everything Hallmark, especially the mysteries.
'54. Holly and Ivy. Melody moves to a new town with a degree in library science, looking for a job and fixing up an older home. She meets her neighbor Nina and her two daughters, Holly and Ivy, quickly bonding with the children. Learning that Nina has a terminal illness, she promises to keep Nina's kids Holly and Ivy together, planning to adopt them. With the help of contractor Adam, she quickly renovates her new fixer-upper and creates a mobile library. Once you get past the idea of someone agreeing to adopt a woman's children after barely knowing them, Holly and Ivy is genuinely a heartfelt story. It's not completely far-fetched either, since Melody identifies with the girls being adopted herself. And while that process moves quickly, she has good intentions that are sincere.
We loved our mom so much, and we missed her every day. But Melody made a home for us, and she's our family too. She's our family now.
The adoption of Holly and Ivy Larson by Melody Knapp is approved.
This movie was also my introduction to Janelle Parrish, who consistently is a standout to all of her roles, even when the movies don't always work for me. Janelle and Jeremy Jordan have such natural chemistry that Adam's eventual role as a father figure to Holly and Ivy feels believable and earned. Holly and Ivy is a touching feel-good movie that knows exactly how to pull at your heartstrings. It stood out in 2020, a year that Hallmark movies finally started feeling more fresh and distinctive after years of formulaic sameness during the Bill Abbott era.
We had years of cookie-cutter, polished Christmas where everyone did the right thing and everyone was a wonderful person. So it was great to get back into these really real, true, sad, depressing family stories. Plus, Broadway tenor, not gonna hurt. This is a movie where people have real conversations, where they don't fall in love overnight, and when they do fall in love, they actually talk to each other about what that's going to mean. They talk to each other about how to pursue their dreams in a real way, instead of just taking the plunge and hoping that it works.
53. Christmas Under Wraps. Candace Cameron Bure plays Lauren, a doctor who reluctantly takes a position at a hospital in a remote Alaskan town when she doesn't get the job she really wanted. Not only does she learn that Alaska is cold, but she also discovers that the town hides a big holiday secret when she meets Andy and his family's business. Christmas Under Wraps is one of the Hallmark fans' most beloved films. While many fans love Candace Cameron Bure, I'm not a big fan of her Hallmark movies. A common issue for me is that her characters often come across as unlikable at the beginning, and this movie is no exception. Lauren is snobbish and ungrateful for the opportunity she's given, making it clear she plans to leave town the moment something better comes along. That's not exactly the confidence you want from your doctor. Even with Candace being the weakest part of the movie for me, the story itself is a lot of fun. The idea that Santa secretly runs the town's toy factory is a fun premise, and the whole town working together to protect the secret adds to the movie's appeal. Alongside her love interest Andy, Lauren slowly becomes to care for this town. Much like Doc Hollywood starring Michael J. Fox, the story follows a big city professional who unexpectedly falls in love with a small town and learns to follow her heart. Of course, Hallmark fans know that the ending doesn't last forever. In 2022, her Full House TV sister eventually becomes the new love of Andy's life. But Christmas Under Wraps is a far better movie.
This is the movie that kind of changed it all for Hallmark. When people talk about the formula of big city gal goes to small town, falls in love with a guy with a flannel shirt, it all starts here. And it was the rating success of this movie that first cemented CCB, Candace Cameron Bure, as the original sort of Christmas queen of Hallmark. But it also made the formula of this plot one that got repeated over and over and over again. There's Hallmark before Christmas Under Wraps, and there's Hallmark after Christmas Under Wraps. Is it particularly good?
I don't mean to rush you, but I've got a job to do.
Of course.
It's all right, eye of the beholder, but its historical significance cannot be underestimated.
Candace Cameron Bure going in as a doctor to a small town in Alaska, which actually ends up being the North Pole. Yawn. Not to mention, she can't act her way out of a paper bag.
She's one note.
Christmas Under Wraps. This is one of the classic Hallmark Christmas movies. Also, I believe was one of the highest rated premieres at the time. You've got Candace Cameron Bure, who is very much someone you have to credit as really launching Hallmark Christmas movies. And it's a very charming sort of Doc Hollywood, if you've ever seen the Michael J. Fox movie, where you have the doctor who wants to be the big surgeon and ends up being the small town doctor to get started, and starts to realize that that small town charm and actually having knowing your clients and is, a bigger fulfillment out of life than just the big city of Boston. And you've got the Santa Christmas magic in there, and that's Garland for you, right?
Well, that's Garland for you.
That's Garland for you.
That's Garland for you.
Is this place for real?
That's Garland for you.
That's Garland for you.
Sorry, but this movie sucks. It sucks so hard. It is so bad. This movie is so bad that they retconned the entire movie. They broke up the lead couple and they said, sorry, Candace Cameron Bure sucked. So she moved away from North Pole, Alaska, which is hilarious. And then they made the male lead, aka Santa, fall in love with her co-star from Full House. That is the kind of petty that I strive to be.
That's Garland for you.
'52, The Christmas Secret. Christine Isley's life is falling apart. The single mother of two is on the verge of eviction from her apartment, along with her ex-husband looking to take custody of the children. After saving a woman's life, she loses her job and her father's star-shaped locket. Luckily, Betty, the owner of the town bakery, feels for Christine, giving her a job where a deep family secret is discovered. Let's not pretend the big secret in this movie isn't incredibly convenient and completely over the top in its reveal. If you don't want to know the secret, then skip ahead. But spoiler alert, Christine discovers that Betty, the bakery owner, is actually her long-lost grandmother. Betty's son died before he could tell her he had fallen in love and was expecting a child. In true Hallmark fashion, much like Annie, a heart-shaped locket becomes the key to uncovering the lost family secret. At the same time, Jason realizes the woman he has fallen for, without even knowing her name, is the one who saved his grandmother's life.
I didn't think you had one either, and somehow she and I found each other.
You serious, Clark?
I don't believe it.
Your great-grandmother is Betty.
She is?
For real? Yes, for real.
No way. Way.
That jacket belonged to my son, your grandfather. His name was Dennis.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
It's an absolutely unbelievable story, but that's exactly why Hallmark fans love movies like this. Bethany Joy Lenz made her Hallmark debut here, and she completely sells the emotional moments of this film. And in my opinion, she's the best actress on the Hallmark Channel. She's the reason why this wild premise actually works. You genuinely feel for Christine as her life falls apart, especially because children are involved.
When Christmas is over, we're gonna have to find another place to live.
We always knew.
It also means that Santa Claus might not bring you everything you asked for this year.
It's okay. We can wait till next year for Santa. Yeah.
You guys are the best.
Honestly, this one might be a little bit higher in the rankings for me because I just loved this movie for the simple fact that as surprises go in a Hallmark Channel movie, I think this one is about as good as it gets. If you've watched enough of these, you start to see where they're going and all of that and put it together ahead of time. This one legitimately caught me by surprise in the best way possible. Plus, I think Bethany Joy Lenz is just standout through and through in this one.
51. A Princess for Christmas. After the tragic loss of her sister and brother-in-law, Jules Daly unexpectedly becomes guardian to her niece and nephew. Struggling to adjust to sudden parenthood, she accepts an invitation to spend Christmas at Castleberry Hall, where the children's estranged grandfather, the Duke, hopes to reconnect with his family, leading to Jules catching the eye of the prince. Yet another royal movie makes this list, but A Princess for Christmas feels a little different from the many that followed. Released in 2011, this was before Hallmark had built its familiar stable of recurring stars, which gives this movie a unique feel. It's also the only Hallmark Christmas movie starring Katie McGrath, and she's a standout in this film as Jules. Her chemistry with Sam Heughan as Aston is one of the movie's highlights. Their relationship feels natural and charming, even as Aston struggles with living under his father's expectations. Then there's Roger Moore as the Duke of Castleberry Hall.
The name is Bond. James Bond.
Is he?
Are you?
Yes.
And I'm Dick Tracy and you're still under arrest.
Casting a royal like James Bond himself brings instant elegance and authority to the role. His presence and accent gives the fictional world of Castleberry a sense of authenticity and royal charm. So why did this one make the list? Because it's Hallmark's first true Christmas royal movie, paving the way for an entire Hallmark holiday subgenre. 50. Christmas by Starlight. When her family's beloved cafe is threatened with demolition, Annie, played by Kimberly Sustad, is determined to save it before Christmas. Her fight brings her face to face with William Holt, the developer's son, played by Paul Campbell.
You're tearing down my parents' cafe. I came to tell you.
Will, you've got a half a dozen lawyers waiting for you up in the... Who's this?
Allie. Annie.
Annie. She's a lawyer. She's a good one. Very good. A lot of passionate things to say about our company. Anyway, we're going to keep chatting here, so thanks for checking in. I'll let you know how it goes.
The two strike an unlikely deal. Annie will spend the week posing as the legal counsel William's father insists he hire in exchange for sparing her family's restaurant. I've mentioned it before, but 2020 felt like a real transition year for Hallmark. The familiar formulaic holiday romances started giving way to stories that felt fresher, funnier, and more character-driven. This movie is a perfect example of that shift.
Look, no. What is this? What is this sweater?
What do you mean, what is this sweater? You said casual.
I said casual. I meant like, nice casual, not bingo night at the Legion.
It leans less into romance and more into comedy, and that's what makes it stand out. A big reason it works is the pairing of Kimberly Sustad and Paul Campbell. Kimberly isn't the typical Hallmark leading lady, and that's part of her appeal. Her comedic timing, expressive reactions, and natural charm play perfectly against Paul Campbell's witty and charismatic performance. If there's one Hallmark duo with undeniable chemistry, it's Paul Campbell and Kimberly Sustad. Their connection goes beyond the screen too. Both are credited as writers on this film. After not finding the kinds of roles she wanted, Kimberly came up with the idea and pitched it to Paul.
I had this idea floating around and pitched it to Paul.
Kim was like, hey, I have this idea for a cute little movie. And she told me, and I said, that's a cute little movie, we should write it.
6 years later, the two continue collaborating both on screen and behind the scenes, and Hallmark has been better for it.
I can rewatch this movie a million times. Kimberly Sustad and Paul Campbell are a dynamic duo. They are amazing actors. This was their first go at writing a script together, and it is great.
I love Christmas by Starlight. You get Paul Campbell and Kimberly Sustad, who are big buddies in real life. They're together in this enemies turn friends turn lovers trope. It has great writing, humor, and a lot of heart.
Hi, I'm Kristin with Holidays After Dark, and you can find the podcast on any of the major podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. And then on social media, you can find me at Holidays Podcast.
"49, single on the 25th. Christmas isn't exactly Nell Duke's favorite season to be single. She keeps finding herself surrounded by couples. After her family cancels their holiday plans, Nell finds herself spending Christmas on her own. Determined to make the most of it, she teams up with her neighbor Cooper, a proudly single financial analyst who offers Nell tips on how to survive a solo Christmas. As they spend more time together, Nell begins to embrace her independence, while Cooper slowly starts to question his growing attraction to her.
We all fit in somewhere.
The bird that swims catches twice as many fish.
Single on the 25th is a rare Hallmark film that openly explores a woman who is mentally and emotionally struggling with being single, made to feel broken simply because she's alone and searching for self-acceptance. Nell lives in a Hallmark world that treats singleness as a problem to be solved. Her friends and family pity her. She participates in a single support group, and she's constantly reminded of her friends who have found the love of their lives, often showcased on Christmas cards and social media posts. Nell is determined to find the love of her life, but she also commits to embracing being single at Christmas.
First rule of the Solo Supper Club, don't stare at the couples. Second, don't get your phone. That's the second rule, no staring at your phone. And third, just relax.
Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
Her neighbor Cooper becomes her Yoda-like guide, instructing her in the ways of being single, doing things together while carefully maintaining emotional and romantic distance. Why is it on this list? Well, it's unique, and it's an unexpected storytelling approach, and it's just a lot of fun.
So this movie was very refreshing for a lot of reasons, not only to have it focusing and even celebrating the singles in our lives, including myself, who are trying to get through Christmas. And one of the coping strategies that we use is watching these Christmas movies. And I feel like this movie acknowledged that. And of course, they end up together. but they still had a lot of truth, different ways that we as singles can cope with a time that is very family centric. And there were a lot of charming scenes together, a lot of banter between Lindsay Fonseca and Daniel Lissing. I think it's the most charming that Daniel Lissing has been in a Hallmark movie, including When Calls the Heart. I know, shocker. And I like that it wasn't patronizing to singles either. It wasn't trying to be like, oh, you're better, or your life is better. No, it was just saying you don't have to be miserable, and you can have a happy Christmas. There's a cute story, and they do fall in love at the end, but it's okay. That's fine. So I really did enjoy it.
48. Journey Back to Christmas. Hannah, a World War II era nurse, is transported 70 years into the future by the arrival of a Christmas comet. Arriving in modern times, Hannah searches for a way to travel back to the past to the man she loves. For me, Journey Back to Christmas is the best Candace Cameron Bure Hallmark Christmas film. It's the kind of movie she should have been making for the channel all along. What makes this film stand out is that Hannah doesn't travel into the future to find love. She doesn't fall for a man in the present or begins wishing for a new life. Instead, she's determined to return to the past to be with the man that she loves. Her purpose is clear from the beginning, and the movie never loses sight of it. She has every reason to go back and never once struggles with the idea of just staying in the future. Tom Skerritt plays Tobias, an older man who remembers Hannah from his childhood. She cared for him as a little boy and inspired him to be the hospital benefactor as an adult. This isn't a perfect film, but it gets a lot right. One of its best choices is not dragging out the disbelief around Hannah's story. People question her at first, who wouldn't? But the film wisely spends more time letting us experience her journey through a modern world. Watching Hannah react to new technology and everyday life 70 years into the future creates some genuinely fun moments. There's a love story involving Jake and Sarah, but the film never lets it overshadow Hannah's journey. The focus remains on her, and that's what makes Journey Back to Christmas work so well. It's about finding a way back to the life and the love that she left behind. And that's what makes it stand out among Hallmark Christmas movies.
I have a hot or cold take, depending on who you are, and that is that Candace Cameron Bure sucks. She's awful. But also, she was the Queen of Christmas. And this movie is quintessential Candy Cam Hallmark. They leave her in a freezing barn overnight because they believe that she's a time traveler. And let's just think about that. If she wasn't a time traveler, she would have died. And that's Hallmark for you.
47. Cross Country Christmas. Max is stranded in Denver when a winter storm cancels his flight home. Also stuck is his former classmate Lena, an endless optimistic problem solver who talks her way through just about anything. Reluctantly, Max agrees to join Lena on an improvised journey home, traveling by foot, train, and whatever else they can find along the way. Another strong movie from 2020, it gives us a fun road trip movie with She's All That star Rachel Lee Cook. Reminiscent of the 80s film Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Cross Country Christmas focuses on two people who don't care for each other and are forced to travel together to make it home for the holiday. But unlike Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, our characters build towards a romance. Cross Country Christmas isn't flawless, but it's a great road trip romance story that has a lot of comedic ways to get across the country. The film takes a little time to find its rhythm, but once the journey gets moving, it focuses on a great balance of comedy and romance. The standout is Rachel Lee Cook. Her character of Lena is instantly likable, and when the script leans into the familiar Hallmark tropes, Rachel Lee Cook always breathes new life, making it feel fresh.
Oh, Cross Country Christmas. Okay, let's do that one. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of a different movie then. Hang on. Cross Country Christmas. There's either one with Chad Michael Murray and a blonde lady. Right. They go across the country. They fall in love. Cross Country Christmas. Look, when it's Christmas time, I don't want a lot to do. I want to go somewhere, have the journey be part of like the adventure, not just where you're going. That's exactly what this movie does. They're going across the country, stopping at all just epic Christmas stops along the way, unplanned, many of them, and just having the best time and just ensconced in Christmas. The whole movie is like driving through a Christmas globe. Sign me up on there.
46. A Gift to Remember. Darcy's lifelong love of reading has led her to a perfect job, working in a small Philadelphia bookstore. One snowy morning, while riding her bike to work, she unexpectedly collides with Aiden, leaving him unconscious, and when he awakes, he has amnesia. Feeling responsible, Darcy begins to help him piece together who he is. I'll spoil one thing right now. This list features a lot of Ali Liebert. There's just something about her performances in Hallmark movies that always works for me. I'm also a sucker for an amnesia storyline. The setup of someone trying to rediscover who they are while the people around them are discovering that too, then add in the unexpected romance built around a mystery, and I'm immediately invested. I've said it before, but I consider 2016 through 2018 to be a fairly uneven stretch for Hallmark Christmas movies. There are definitely standouts, and plenty of those films from those years still made this list, but it's also an era packed with movies that feel overly safe and formulaic. A lot of them just blend together. A Gift to Remember doesn't. 45. A Keller Christmas Vacation. It's been years since the Keller family has gone on a vacation together, but parents Anne and Ben invite their 3 children, Cal, Dylan, and Emery, to travel on a river cruise down the Danube. What the parents don't know is that each of the children is dealing with life struggles as they explore European Christmas markets. Before I even get into how this movie will absolutely make you cry, I have to praise the casting.
So the brotherly barrage begins.
Eden Scher, who I adored as Sue Hack on The Middle for 9 seasons, needs to be in more of these Hallmark movies. She's fantastic here, with sharp comedic timing that plays perfectly off of Jonathan Bennett, who also helped develop this story. Add in Brandon Routh, cat-free this time, and the 3 of them genuinely feel like real siblings.
Will you excuse us for just 1 minute? We're all out of options. I say we do it.
An off-the-grid mountain hotel? I've seen this movie before, and it usually airs around Halloween, not Christmas. Red flags abound.
Okay, if we get there and something seems off, we bail. I'm the oldest, I'll protect you. Ew. We'll protect you. I may not have been a collegiate athlete, but you should see what I can do on a Pilates reformer.
We are going to stay right here in Regensburg and take our chances with the elements. We go with Fräulein Hilda. Let's hope she also believes that the hills are alive and not the alternative.
I expected to enjoy this movie, but I was genuinely surprised by how much I loved it. Beyond the incredible chemistry, the story itself is pretty solid. Hallmark movies often have little flaws I'm willing to overlook, but here I didn't find much to question. Everything clicks, and each sibling's struggles are thoughtfully resolved. And honestly, I dare anybody not to choke up during the final scene where the sons help their father, who has Parkinson's disease, go ice skating.
Don't worry, Dad. We got you. You good? Yeah.
I was definitely afraid going into this movie that it was going to be a little depressing just because of the things that I had heard with like the dad being sick and whatever. But I feel like it ended up being really fun and also just touching, but in a more like positive, hopeful way than in a depressing way. I loved the sibling dynamic. There were so many hilarious moments with them and the way that they talked to each other and just the way that they were with each other. But I mean, having Jonathan Bennett in any movie to me is always going to be good. He just radiates a fun, positive energy. And this movie was just really touching in all the best ways possible.
It is all the feels of Hallmark. It is some of the best acting we've seen in Hallmark. It's also one of the most challenging topics Hallmark has covered, and it is so brilliantly done on all ends. This also is a movie that makes you cry, and you get happy tears, you have some sad tears. When you have a family really coming together and tackling an issue like Parkinson's disease, not exactly something you think of like, oh, holiday, happiness, but it really shows how this family unites around an illness, and that's something extremely relatable that every family goes through. Not all holidays are happy-go-lucky, and the way this film touches on that subject and how it affects everybody in the family is so beautifully done. Hi, I'm Haley. You can find me at Crown the Halls on Instagram. I also host Crown Chats on YouTube.
44. A Holiday Spectacular. Maggie tells her granddaughter the story of how her secret dream came true, dancing for the Rockettes. Set in 1958, Maggie sneaks away to New York City, putting her high society wedding plans on hold to try out. Passing her audition, she dances on stage in the Christmas Spectacular at Radio City Music Hall. A Holiday Spectacular is a different storyline from the usual plots that we get. The setting is in the late 50s and focuses on some really good friendships. We get the typical new romance between Maggie, played by Jenna Claire Mason, and naval photographer John, played by Derek Klena. The romance was sweet, but the relationship between the Rockettes was far more interesting. Hallmark put some money behind this film. It looks and feels like a theatrical release. Anne Margaret plays the older Maggie, and while it's a small role, she gives the movie some credibility.
One of the best things in life comes when you're really scared to do something, but you do it anyway.
Were you scared when you auditioned?
No. But boy, when they said yes, I was terrified.
Recreating the look and the feel of New York in the late 50s is not cheap. The movie is beautifully shot, and even the effects look pretty good. A lot of people were upset by the history retelling regarding the African American dancer, but what's wrong trying to be a little bit more inclusive in the storytelling? What I did appreciate, though, is a different way to tell a Christmas love story in a different way, even with a few liberties.
A Holiday Spectacular catches all the best New York Rockette moments, with Derek Klena and Jenna Claire Mason, amazing talented Broadway performers. I've met both of these stars before and they are so sweet, so I definitely like where this movie ranks.
Sorry, I'm in the minority. I don't actually think that this movie is that good, and I don't think that it should be this high. However, I do love a Broadway tenor, and I do have two words that work for me. Derek Klena.
Honestly, this one might be a little bit higher in the rankings for me, but maybe it's because I've got a soft spot for the Rockettes. My mom was always a big fan of the Radio City Music Rockettes. Plus, Jenna Claire Mason. I think she's so great as a Hallmark lead actress, and she certainly stand out in this role. I think the whole flashing back to the past is just so great, and I just think that the way that they produced this movie, the production value, the quality of it all, it just felt really great, really special as a Hallmark movie for me.
43. The Holiday Sitter. Jonathan Bennett plays Sam, who's tasked with watching his niece and nephews before the holidays. Unsure how to properly care for the kids, he hires help from the neighbor Jason, only to discover an unexpected romance. The Holiday Sitter is funny. It's not slapstick, but goofy at times with a lot of heart. Jonathan got to show gay representation, and he feels right at home with his part. The chemistry between him and George Crissa, who plays the neighbor and love interest, shines when they hold hands, as you feel the attraction between the two men. Jonathan is also amazing with the kids, especially his niece Danielle, played by Mila Morgan. I love the scene when she doesn't recognize her uncle without his unfortunate mustache. And if you didn't catch it, we also get a Mean Girls reference.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Jonathan Bennett has been part of the Hallmark universe for over a decade, playing the male lead in numerous love stories involving a man and a woman. It's not the first time he got to play a gay character, but those parts were part of an ensemble. The Holiday Sitter is the first Hallmark film to feature a gay relationship in the main story. And guess what? The film still feels like a Hallmark film filled with love, happiness, and predictability.
The Holiday Sitter was kind of a historic breakthrough for Hallmark. This was the first time they were going to make an LGBTQ plus romance front and center in one of their movies, and in a Christmas movie, no less. And this is a film that is terrific. It doesn't just rest on its laurels of being the first and being a groundbreaker for the network. It's quite lovely and quite charming. Jonathan Bennett, I think, gives his best performance to date as the lead character, as a gay man who loves his life in the city and isn't interested in having kids, can relate, and then finds himself having to take care of his niece and nephew over the holidays and getting a lot of help from George Crissa as the gay boy next door, who is absolutely a Mr. Right for him and for taking care of the kids. They make a terrific couple, and the character arcs here aren't just about, will they get together, but also about the way that they kind of change each other, the revelations that Jonathan Bennett has about having grown up as a gay kid feel really specific in a way that you wouldn't expect in a Hallmark movie. So yeah, there's a lot here that's really quite lovely. If you're someone who laments the lack of diversity in Hallmark movies, this is one of those rare times where they got it right.
Watching this film for Hallmark was interesting. I knew it was a landmark film for them because it was the first time they featured a gay romance as the lead romance of a movie, and I'm sure it struck a heart with a lot of people because just for that purpose.
This is a pivotal moment in Hallmark history because it's not the first one that shows a gay couple. It is the first one, I think, that really has them as the lead, not the side characters. This is the leading love story. And one of the reasons I love this movie so much and why I love Jonathan Bennett so much is that his whole point is to show that this just looks like every other relationship. It just happens to be two leading men. It's one of the sweetest, most sincere Hallmark love stories we see, and it's a beautifully done Christmas movie. A little like Uncle Buck-ish, and then it's just beautiful comedic timing, some really sweet, touching moments, and of course we have Jonathan Bennett's humor, and you can't go wrong with that.
42. My Christmas Family Tree. When Vanessa receives the results of a family DNA test, she uncovers a biological father she never knew existed. That discovery leads her to spend Christmas with a newly found father and siblings she's never met. As she adjusts to the sudden sense of belonging, she also starts to form a quiet connection with Chris, a longtime family friend. I'm still not entirely sure why I gravitate towards Amy Teagarden as an actress.
Sure, Jan.
I mean, she's great, but all of her characters make bad choices that keep me on the edge. From Friday Night Lights to this, she has a knack for playing women whose choices feel slightly unsteady, and yet I keep watching, which probably says more about me than her. The tension sets in early when there are hints that the DNA test results might not entirely be accurate. Instead of confronting that uncertainty, Vanessa leans into the possibility of belonging, even as doubt quietly builds. It's a believable emotional response, but it keeps a constant unease running through the story as you wait for the other shoe to drop. If there's one frustration about this movie, it's how the previews gave everything away.
This is Vanessa, my daughter, your sister.
It says I have a paternal match. Hi.
The father she didn't know she had.
How about you come spend Christmas holidays with us?
And the family she always wanted.
I can tell how much this family means to you.
But the holidays are full of surprises.
Are you okay?
It seems there's been a mix-up with your results.
My Christmas Family Tree on Hallmark.
Hallmark effectively reveals the central twist, which would have been far more powerful to discover in the moment. Even so, the story doesn't really need that gimmick. The core idea of a woman discovering a new family is strong enough on its own. Even with all those complaints, My Christmas Family Tree is compelling, and Amy Teagarden is adorable, and you root for her to find a place where she belongs.
My family.
Christmas Family Tree. It's not about Christmas. This one's not about Christmas. It's about finding her family. And I'm sorry, I don't care for this one at all. The story is just so contrived.
Yeah, it was like, you get a DNA test. Bored.
Yeah, exactly.
Irish, 27%, Spanish, 16%, 5.5% French, and 1.5% West African. That's kind of cool.
That is very cool.
41. Love Lights Hanukkah. As Christina prepares her restaurant for Christmas, a DNA test changes everything, revealing that she's Jewish. That discovery leads her to a new family, a deeper sense of identity, and an unexpected romance over 8 crazy nights. Once again, a Hanukkah film earns its place on my list on the top 100 Christmas movies of all time. I'm genuinely glad the Hallmark Channel is giving space to these stories, because sometimes the Hanukkah films end up being stronger overall. This one definitely doesn't treat Hanukkah as a footnote to Christmas. Instead, it gives the holiday room to breathe, focusing on the traditions and celebrations in a way that feels thoughtful and engaging. I can't really speak to the accuracy of the holiday, but it does feel grounded and authentic. In a way, it simply invites you to experience the holiday rather than over-explaining it. From there, Christina's journey unfolds as she meets a new family, reconnects with roots she never knew she had, and finds herself drawn to David, played by Ben Savage. Ben Savage is really strong here. I'm so used to thinking him as that 90s child star, but that's definitely fades once you see him in this role. He has great chemistry with Mia Kirshner, and together with a solid supporting cast, they elevate this into an exceptional Hallmark film. It may have a Christmas backdrop, but at its heart, it's really centered on celebrating Hanukkah.
Love Lights Hanukkah is a delightful movie that perfectly blends Hanukkah and Christmas together without ever seeming forced. I love the story where Maya Krishner learns that through a DNA test that she's Jewish and then discovers everything that means. A great cast with Ben Savage and Mary Lou Henner, plus there's a really good twist at the end. The only negative thing I can say about this movie is it's the only appearance we got for both Kirshner and Savage.
We are 60 movies into this countdown. Stay tuned as we continue to count down the top 100 Hallmark Christmas movies of all time. Be sure to click on that subscribe button so you'll be notified when the next video is released. Do you agree with my picks, or do you think I've got something wrong? Well, then let me know in the comments below. I'm sure you will. I'm the Christmas aficionado, and remember, stay off the naughty list.